Hey, this is the Entertainment Advice Channel. What I want to talk about today is the topic of why did the Star Wars universe feel so bad? So for this video, I'm going to discuss, for those who are really familiar with Star Wars, or even remotely familiar with Star Wars, which everybody knows, which is the topic of why it feels so bad, specifically when it relates to things like plot holes and inconsistencies and yada yada yada. To sum it up, the Star Wars universe is not very well, okay? For that matter, okay? And that's what I'll be discussing today. A lesson that you can learn for anyone who's interested in making things like that, let alone in general lesson that there is to be learned if you're making any fictional universe, okay? From, of course, the Star Wars universe, okay? So now that I mentioned that, let's get started. So when it comes to the topic of what there is to learn, it's long-term planning. That is the most important thing for you if you are running a universe, for that matter, let alone whatever you like to say, creating a universe, yada yada yada. The first thing you must do to make sure you don't end up like the Star Wars universe, okay? Have a vision of what you want to do, okay? Because George Lucas, not even hating on him, besides he's he's an okay guy. He created a cool ass universe for Star Wars, and it's his universe no matter how you look at it, so ultimately what he wants is what he goes. But either way, the point of the matter is, his universe is not very well written, okay? Aside from the original trilogy, the truth of the matter is, his universe is full of so many problems. There's so many inconsistencies when it comes to the storyline, of it. Obviously, you saw with the prequels, let alone all the spin-off series that were made, like TV shows and so on and so forth, let alone, of course, aside from all the inconsistencies when it comes to the story itself, it also comes down to even the plot holes when it comes to characters. Like General Grievous was an amazing fighter, and some way, somehow, for the movies, he was killed by Obi-Wan Kenobi when he was easily able to take on numerous Jedis all at once, who are all masters, okay? All that type of stuff, okay? All that shows you is what happens when you create a script, let alone more specifically in this case a universe, and you don't have a vision of what you want to do with it, okay? Because the truth about George Lucas, okay, and he's cool for at least creating a Star Wars universe, but when it comes to being a very thoughtful writer, he's just not a very good one, okay? Because he just didn't, I think, I know everyone always says, who's familiar with Star Wars, like the original, I don't think he anticipated it would be as big as it became, but the truth of the matter is, even aside from that, he just didn't plan a vision of what he wanted to do with it, okay? Because when you create a universe, okay, to be specific what I mean by vision, okay, you need to have an idea of what exactly you want, okay? Like, how does everything come together, okay? Let alone, most importantly of all, when it comes to vision, the most important of all, what is your specific vision, okay, you want for your series, okay? Like, do you want, for example, obviously after you make the prequels, you give this example, what do you want to happen afterwards for Star Wars, okay? Like, do you want there for the next decade to be new movies that are created, for that matter, okay? Like, do you want there to be a new series of movies created for that decade and even afterwards? Like, do you want it to be a long-running franchise that lasts for decades and never really goes away, just like the superhero that have never gone away, like Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, and all those people? Like, you want it to be something that lasts for pretty much forever, and even the Final Fantasy games for that matter? Or do you want something that just disappears after you created so many movies and this and that? It just kind of just goes away. You don't make anything new for it, because some people decide that for their franchise. They don't want anything new to be made for it. Some franchises just straight up die, So, whatever the case of the matter is, George Lucas, it's his series, so he should figure out, what he wants to do with it. What is your friggin' vision? What do you want for the future of it, okay? And the more you have an idea of what you want for the future of it, you can obviously plan things better. And through planning things better, you can write better scripts and make better things come together instead of having massive plot holes and stuff, let alone having someone who, of course, will come along and say, hey, I I want to buy this thing, and I have no idea what the fuck they're doing with people with Star Wars. What Disney did when they took over Star Wars, okay? And that's what George Lucas didn't do. He didn't have a vision of what specifically he wanted to do, okay? And that's why Star Wars is dying. And to answer your question, pretty much anyone aside from the people who grew up watching Star Wars and stuff, pretty much everyone just kind of clowns at everything Star Wars has been, you know, especially after, of course, the original trilogy has been a failure. The prequels, though they were entertaining, let's keep it real, there's massive flaws in it. Aside from the prequels, the sequels were just absolutely terrible, and all the TV shows and stuff that happened that they created that took place after, the prequels and between the original trilogy, the timeline as we're all familiar with, like shows like The Mandalorian and all that stuff. From what I heard people say, all terrible, full of plot holes, like all that type of stuff. Okay, to answer your question, no matter how we look at it, yes, of course, we're going to say Star Wars is sick, but from a technical perspective, let's keep it real, dog. Star Wars is a failed series. Okay, it's a failed series. Franchise, whatever you want to call it, it's failed. It's done pretty much, and they've pretty much covered so many things that it's just like, what else do we cover? And that goes along with long-term planning. When you long-term plan, you can know how to stretch things out so you don't run out of ideas quick time. Okay, you can know, like, okay, what do we want to cover, like, for this franchise? Like, do we want to cover this specific period of time and also be smart, stretch it out? Like, we might stretch it out for like 2 decades, for that matter, when we cover this particular part of it, which might be obviously the period of time, between obviously the end of Revenge of the Sith and, of course, obviously the first movie of the original trilogy, for that matter. Do we want to stretch it out, like cover many different things for a period of time, so we don't run out of ideas to talk to people about with it? Do we also maybe, for example, after that, maybe cover maybe what happened before, even the original prequels, like obviously the Knights of the Old Republic era of Star Wars? Do we want to discuss like what's going to happen in the future after, of course, the original trilogy ended? Like all that type of stuff, okay? Those are things you want to fucking focus on if you want your series, to last for a long period of time and not just do it very well, okay? Not only does it make sure you don't run out of ideas, it also gives you enough time to kind of figure things out so you don't have problems and all that kind of shit, okay? But they didn't do that, The people who ran Star Wars didn't do that. Of course, the person who runs it more than anyone else, the original creator, you guessed it, George Lucas, didn't do that. So in short, that is what happens when you don't plan for the future. Everything is fucking falling apart. Now, and for anything, any series that's coming out in the future, you need to have a vision, okay? So you don't make the same mistake Star Wars. Because Star Wars, no matter how you look at it, it's dead. It's dead. They've run out of all the things to cover. They just didn't plan things out well. There's a lot of things that were created that's considered a part of the official storyline, not just some alternate universe type shit. So it's like, what do you do now? Okay? Even if you try to make Star Wars good again, you just have to pretty much just create a new universe. In other words, a spin-off universe, kind of like how for Spider-Man you have Miles Morales type shit, which is not alongside the official Spider-Man storyline. And even that, how the hell does that make any sense? So that's what I'm trying to say here. No matter how you look at it, it's done. It's done. Star Wars is done. For that matter, okay? It's just done. They just pretty much set up everything for the whole universe to fuck it up, So it's like, it's done. It's done. It's done. There's nothing you can do aside from that. So in short, to answer your question, the lesson that there is to learn, if you create a franchise, okay, like a series, all that type of stuff, make sure you know what your vision is, okay? If you don't know what your vision is, everything's gonna fall apart, everything's gonna go from here to there, and it's just gonna ultimately come to then, and it's gonna eventually be like how Star Wars now, just we're out of ideas and we completely fucked up a series that had so much potential, okay? And that's what you're seeing now, for that matter, okay? to be quite blunt honest with you, okay? Of what happens when you do not plan for the future, okay? So for any upcoming people who even want to create your own franchise who watch my videos, make sure you plan for the future, at least minimum 5-10 years in the future of what you want to do with your franchise, let alone have an idea of what your overall vision is. Not just, we want to do this in 5-10 years. Do you want it to last for a long period of time, or do you want it to be something that just leaves its impact and goes away? Okay, figure that out. That's what you need to do. Figure out what your vision is, and if you can do that, you're gonna have a successful franchise and not run into issues Star Wars has. So Star Wars, if anything, is the greatest cautionary tale of when you have something good but you don't have a vision for it, and that's the truth. So anyway, this is my video. This is all I have to say. And simply put, if you like this video, remember to thumbs this video up and hit the subscribe button. And simply put it, that's all I have to say. And simply put, I'm out. So bye.